What's good, fam? It's your girl, Miss Emma Jean. Welcome back to Driver's Side Chat. As always, thank you for joining me, checking me out each week. I truly appreciate you. Today, I just wanted to reach out and help people who have been applying for jobs and they're wondering why they're not getting the follow-up phone calls. They're not being invited in for interviews, or they're getting invited in for interviews, but they're not closing the deal, which is receiving a job offer. If that's you, then hopefully this video can help you or enlighten you in some way that will increase your chances of being selected and getting your dream job or changing your career or whatever it is your goal is regarding your career. All right, so first thing is, if you are a person who has applied for several jobs over the last few months, and you're saying, man, I've applied for all of these jobs, nobody's calling me back, I haven't been invited in for any interviews. If that is you, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say the issue is with your resume. Not always, it could be that, you were not one of the top candidates in terms of being qualified. There may have been stronger candidates than you, but more than likely, the issue is with your resume. I'll tell you why. If you are sending the same generic resume for every job that you're applying for, that's your first mistake. You never want to send a generic resume when you're applying for jobs online. The reason why, whenever you apply for an online job, there is typically an application tracking system that these companies are using. And what that system does is it compares your resume to the job posting that you're applying for. And so the more your resume matches with that job posting, the higher your chances are of your resume landing on the desk of that recruiter or that hiring manager. So what that means for you is that every time you apply for a job, you need to tailor your resume to match up with that job posting. All right. If you're not doing that, then you're selling yourself short. I know it's time consuming. I know it's a pain in the butt. I know nobody likes doing it. It sucks. But if you really want to change your career, you really want a new job, you really need a new job, you need to tailor your resume and make sure that it is matching with the job that you are applying for. All right. The next thing, let's say you have applied for a bunch of jobs, but you've also gotten invited in for interviews, and you're like, man, I had the interview, but nobody is offering me a job. Like, what's the problem? I would say in that scenario, if you're getting invited in for interviews, that means that your resume is on point. You're doing a good job with your resume. You're applying for the right jobs. You are a good fit for these jobs on paper, but maybe when you get in front of that hiring manager or whoever it is you're doing your interview with, you're not selling yourself. The best thing that you can do when you are expecting to have a job interview, the best thing for you to do is to study for it like you study for a test. What you want to do is look up that company, go to their website, look up any current events or anything on their page that will tell you something that has happened within that company. Maybe they were voted one of the top companies in their region in sales last month or something like that. You want to find something or look for something that is going to show them that you have done your research and you are interested and that you did your homework before coming in, and that you're not just winging it. You're also going to want to answer those you want to be prepared to answer those generic interview questions that everybody asks. Everybody asks, or requests at the beginning of the interview. You introduce yourself, you look them in the eyes, you smile, you give them that firm handshake. First thing they're going to do is ask you to tell them a little bit about you. Let me tell you what you don't want to do in this scenario. You don't want to tell them where you're from. You don't want to tell them where you went to school. You don't want to tell them about your family. They don't care about that. That's not what they're asking you. The purpose of tell me a little bit about yourself is to get you to talk freely, to express yourself, to sell yourself, to tell them what you can offer. Why are you interested in that company? What do you have to offer them that is unique from everyone else who's probably applying for this job? Show your personality. Practice the answer to that question over and over and over and over again so that it doesn't seem rehearsed, so that it's authentic, so that it seems like you know your stuff and that you did your homework, that you're prepared, that you're ready. Also, what's another question? Your biggest strength. Tell me about one of your strengths, your weaknesses. When they ask you about your weakness, don't say, oh, well, my weakness is being on time, or I wake up late. Don't say anything that's going to jeopardize you landing the job. But you want to say something that you have had an issue with in the past, but you also want to use it in your favor by saying, stating something that you did to improve in that area. So for instance, if they say, hey man, give me one of your weaknesses. Instead of saying, well, my weakness is, you want to say, well, an area where I have improved or where I've had to work hard to improve in is XYZ, or being organized. All right. In the past, I had a hard time staying organized or keeping up with things. But what I've done is I've gotten me a planner. I've gotten me a calendar. I use the calendar in my phone to alert me. And now I'm on top of things. I get things done. I know where everything is. That's just a random example. Feel free to use it, steal it, customize it, whatever it is for your next interview. And also, just like I said, Google it. Google interview questions and just practice answering those questions until they just roll off the tip of your tongue in the interview. The more prepared you are for your interview, the less nervous you're going to be. If you go in there unprepared, you haven't done your research, you haven't practiced answering those questions, you're going to be more nervous than you would be had you put the time in to prepare for those questions. Trust me. And last but not least, when they ask you if you have any questions, have those questions ready. You never want to say no. You want to ask a question. You want to ask, okay, well, what prompted you guys to want to hire someone for this role? What's the culture like here? What's the person that I would be reporting to in this role? What is their managing style? Things like that. Those are the kinds of things you're going to want to ask. What you don't want to ask is a question about salary. You don't want to ask about benefits. You don't want to ask anything like that. That'll come later on if you receive an offer. But you want to ask things that will show that you are genuinely interested in working for this company and learning more about it. But that's all I have for today, guys. If you guys have any more questions about how to prepare for an interview or what to do on your resume, please feel free to reach out. Let me know. All right, I'm about to roll out. Peace.